So this isn't one of my normal videos. I've got nothing prepared. I'm making it up as I go along today. Because today is the last day of Mental Health Week, which is a big thing within the web community. Mental health is so incredibly important, especially for those of us that are involved in the web design industry, in the tech industry, where things move at such a ridiculous rate. And to be honest, there is a really bad work ethic. People work far too hard and far too intensely. But that isn't actually what I want to talk about here. I actually think we make our mental health problems so much worse in our sector because of the backbiting, because of the snide comments, because of social media. Now, I absolutely love social media and I love the time that I spend on it, and I've made many great friends through Twitter in particular. But Twitter is changing, and to be honest, I don't like the way that it's changing. This isn't a reflection on the platform itself, because for years it was very good. We had some excellent discussions, shared some excellent advice with one another, and had a really good time. But more recently, increasingly, I'm seeing people be just downright snide and rude to one another on Twitter. And to be frank, I'm fed up with it. I'm weary of watching it. Now, there is obviously the intrinsic kind of badness that you see in society reflected on Twitter. You're seeing racism, you're seeing sexism and those kinds of things. And I'm not in any way undermining those, especially the sexism is a hugely important issue and something that really needs to be dealt with. But there are lots of other people talking about those kinds of issues. What really gets to me, and something that I'm not seeing as many people talking about, is the kind of everyday snide little comments that are made on Twitter. The feeling that in some way, if you're on Twitter and you see something you disagree with, you just have to respond. You can't let things lie. And this is a big issue. I kind of go back to what our mothers told us. If you can't say anything nice, then don't say anything at all. There's no reason to criticize people, even if you don't know them, because they have feelings and they get hurt. I recently came across an incident where one of my friends on Twitter, somebody made quite a funny comment about that person. And I actually responded and said, oh, very funny. And it was, yes, it was taking the mick of them a little bit. But generally speaking, I didn't say any particular harm. I knew the person and I knew they had a sense of humour. Unfortunately and surprisingly, that person came back to me really quite hurt that I'd responded the way I had. When I dug into why it was because actually this comment was just one of many, as there seems to be an asserted campaign to attack this person and what they're doing. Now, I'm not actually necessarily agreeing with what my friend is doing in his business and the things he's working on, and I maybe disagree with some of it, but that's no reason to actively attack him with such vitriol and such viciousness. When I started looking into the other comments that had been made about him, they were very mean and very unnecessary. But then I see that kind of thing all the time. I see it with other friends that, a great example was Andy Clark. And I'm sure Andy Clark wouldn't mind me mentioning him. I hope he doesn't anyway. He spoke at a conference or a meetup a couple of nights ago, free of charge, as part of this Mental Health Week. And he shared his stories and his struggles and was brilliant. Yet somebody on Twitter felt the need to attack him for that. Just a snide little comment. They probably didn't even mean it, but they didn't think about what they were saying. And that's the trouble. So often we don't think about what we say on Twitter. We feel the need to defend every point, to fight every battle. If somebody doesn't like the content management system we use, we have to jump to defense. If somebody uses a framework that we think is rubbish, we have to be quick to tell them. Let alone then the personal attacks as well. Essentially, there's no reason for this. There's no reason why we have to criticize each other. There's no reason why we have to attack each other. If somebody says something you disagree with, just ignore it and move on. We don't have to fight every battle. Now, there are some that are worth fighting. If somebody says something sexist or attacks another individual, then by all means come to that person's defence. But over more trivial issues, really, we need to be grown-ups. We're a mature community of professionals, and actually the way we behave is very damaging, and we need to stop it.